I would say just start.
What has been the winning formula?
You are going to be rich. I mean, unless you're stealing a bank. Are you sure? There was no social media when I started, know who Aamil Tabani is. I was thinking of the word freebies. It's the credibility of the developer is the most important thing, but it never gets developed. I'm a crisis management officer now. The core business of real estate is.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode with Aamil Tabani. Today we have a very special guest, very renowned, very known, one of the famous influencer and podcasters even in the market. Welcome, Farooq, Syed.
I love the introduction, famous podcasters. Thank you, Aamil, for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Likewise.
Pleasure to be here at Prescott.
Thank you for coming and joining us today. This name obviously needs no introduction. I think everyone in the real estate industry knows him. So kind of like envy him a little bit sometimes, but I think it's good to have him and get a few insights from him today. So obviously you are well known in the market, a very visible leader. Over the time obviously the whole market has been following you, taking your advices, insights, a lot of launches that you go to. When you first started, real estate, was that the agenda of becoming that influential personality and working in that direction, or it just Farooq Syed in Springfield became something on the way?
I mean, I think it became something on the way. We never planned on, pushing social media. There was no social media when I started. We started nearly 18, 19 years ago. So it's been a long time since we've been in the real estate market. Marketing was very different from what it is today. When we started off in real estate, it was all about newspapers. Yeah. So it was all Gulf News and Khalij Times and Property Times and all those different magazines that we used to market on. And of course, as the times progressed, we moved on to portals, and then we moved on to social media probably a decade ago. So I think over the years, what we expected of Springfield has also evolved. And I think it's been a long journey. We formed Springfield in 2008. A little bit after Prescott started developing, so we've been around for a while as well. And I think the whole agenda wasn't set on day one. I think it evolved during the years.
I think you were among the first ones who were doing those tours for the villas and properties, and it became a thing for everyone to follow in this industry. Later on, obviously, this was, I think, a trend that we would see more in the West.
Yes. It was in the US. I started seeing Ryan Serhant doing a lot of work on his YouTube channel. And then, that's when the thought occurred, I think it was around 2018, 2019, that, his podcasts, not his podcast, but his villa tours were exploding. And I'm like, no one's doing this in Dubai, so let's try. And luckily at the time, we were selling a lot of high value villas in Emirates Hills. We had done a lot of transactions. Started doing transactions in Dubai Hills and the other villa community. So we had good stock that we wanted to showcase, and it just became a thing. Someone in my office said, sir, why don't we just, shoot something, but you speak, because we go and take videos and pictures of villas all the time, but why don't you say something? And I'm like, I say something? I said, no one really does that. It looks a bit tacky if someone says it, but they're like, no, try it. And then I tried one, I tried second, and then, it just picked up from there. And then, of course, when you get the good response, and then it kind of nudges you to push forward as well.
Yeah, definitely. And if I were to ask, what's the biggest villa transaction that you managed to conclude by doing those?
We've sold a lot of villas in Dubai Hills. We've sold a lot of villas in Emirates Hills. So we've done multiple transactions, which were 100 million plus.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've done multiple. Of course, the clients, if not necessarily from a specific tour, but it's throughout the social media that we've managed to get clients that have come in, and then they've made multiple transactions. We've had clients that have bought things, sold them, and then they've been investors of ours for the last 5-6 years. And when I go back and track, the first time they came through was from social media or from one of the villa tours that we've done. So, I can't even count the number of transactions that we've done through our YouTube channel.
Wow.
Over the years. Now, of course, it's different today because at that time, there was literally no one doing tours in Dubai.
It was more raw.
So anyone searched, we would pop up. So it was a great lead gen tool back in the day. But of course, the market's evolving all the time. Things that worked 5 years ago aren't working now. Things that worked 6 months ago are not working now. So there's always new things in marketing that we gotta keep coming up with.
Yes, absolutely. I think AI is the new trend now.
Yeah,
So
now
whoever's adapting to
marketing is constantly evolving. I think our marketing team is also, they have to be on their toes.
you need more Gen Zs now.
Exactly,
Marketing
exactly. We are getting old now. We used to be the youngsters in the market now. Now we are getting older, and there's new blood that's coming in, new brokers that are coming in that are doing a phenomenal job. I see so many brokers in their mid 20s. That are making a fortune in Dubai's real estate market versus people that have been here for 15, 20 years, that are not doing as well as those youngsters because of these new marketing techniques. Social
Yeah.
media is evolving. Everyone's sitting on their phone. Reels are trending. Developers, I mean, you yourself being a developer, you understand that
Yeah.
the brokers that are showcasing your projects on social media are the ones that are doing some of the largest sales.
Absolutely.
So it has become the best tool for marketing, but it is evolving. Some trends that were working a year back, 2 years back are not working now. As a space gets more populated, more and more people are doing social media, the competition is increasing. And as the competition increases, we have to evolve faster.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So while keeping competition into consideration, obviously, if I'm not wrong, your mother is the one who started the idea of Springfield. And she's a great influencer at the same time.
Yeah, she's
Do you feel threatened, or you feel that she is leading that competition now?
I mean, she's trending more than I am. I'll be
Well,
honest
she
with that.
is.
But luckily, she has a different market. She's not only promoting real estate. I think her agenda and her genre is different. And one thing I always tell her, there's no one in your competition, because there's no one in that older Pakistani woman creating content. There's very few people in her competition.
She's the only
I
one.
always tell her, I said, in my competition, there are thousands of real estate brokers around the world creating content. In your competition, there's no one. And I think it's a different genre, luckily, so I don't feel as threatened.
Positive competition. So
Positive
it's
competition, exactly. We're learning from each other. But one thing I want to add, her content has taught me that the more raw you are,
yeah.
and the more genuine you are, the more views you get. Because she has never used the help of an editor or a videographer to come and take her videos. She just takes a video and uploads it raw.
She doesn't even use CapCut.
CapCut, no captions, no nothing. She just shoot and upload, and that actually gets a lot of views. That I'm noticing people are doing all of these AI, CapCut, and all of these things, and putting captions and all of that. And I feel like the more raw you are, the more genuine you are. That's what people want to watch on social media today.
Yeah, it's just the right content and not something made up, to the point, and very natural content. I think is working more. Like you said, more raw is absolutely the right word for it. I think I was listening to one of your podcasts as well before, and you mentioned that you did your first transaction when you were 16.
Yes, that's right.
And
It was a rental. I still remember.
Yeah.
I still remember that transaction like it was yesterday.
Okay. So I want to first know about what that transaction was. And secondly, I would like to know, what is it that you would tell to yourself 20 years later, or to people who are 16, that you would do maybe different in today's market?
See, first of all, 16, when I was 16, nearly 20 years ago, the market was very, very different. This was a summer between my high school and university. So I skipped 2 years of high school. I went to university at the age of 16. And this was the summer prior to that. I mean, throughout, I mean, as far as I can remember, I've always been working with my parents in their business. So we had a car rental company. We had a couple of restaurants. So I would stand behind the counter in the restaurant. I would stand behind the counter at the rent-a-car company. So I was always, whenever we would have some free time as kids, as the elder child, I would always be there helping my parents. So in that summer between school and university, my dad said, the real estate market's booming, and we were investors in Dubai real estate market. He said, just try to get a job. And I was like, who's gonna hire a 16-year-old? But luckily I looked a bit older. And I remember I walked into this real estate company. It was called Nadia Real Estate. And my boss was, a very, very nice, knowledgeable lady. And I still remember she got a lead for somebody who wanted to rent an apartment in Dubai Marina. She gave me the key and said, you know what, can you get to Dubai Marina? Because obviously she was busy with her own work and transaction. I said, yes, I can get to Dubai Marina. She's like, how are we going to get to Dubai Marina? And mind you, the office was next to 𝐷𝐶 Plaza.
Oh,
So from 𝐷𝐶 Plaza to go to Dubai Marina was a bit of a hike as well. But luckily, because we had a car rental company, we had a lot of drivers at our disposal. So I said, don't worry, I have a driver. I'll call somebody. They'll drop me there. And I remember she gave me the key. She told me, and luckily I had a friend who used to live in Al Mas Tower in Dubai Marina when it newly launched. And I said, I have a friend that lives in Mas. Don't worry, I'll get there. I got there, opened the apartment door. This tenant comes in, looks at the apartment, and I'm just standing at the door. And he looks around for like 5 minutes and comes back and says, I'll take it. And I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I said, okay, I don't know what to do next. Let me call up my boss. I called up my boss and I said, you know what? The tenant here wants to take it. He's like, are you sure? And I asked him again. I said, are you sure? He's like, yes, I'm sure. I'm like, yes, boss. He's sure. She's like, bring him to the office. And I remember I asked him, I got into his car and I drove back all the way to 𝐷𝐶 Plaza where we sat down, we did a rental contract. And I said, wow, real estate is super easy. All you got to do is open a key. And I still remember I made about 8,000 dirhams in my first transaction.
Wow.
Which was the most amount of money that I had ever earned in my life. It was the most amount of money I saw in one place at that time. You know, 8,000 dirhams when you're a 16-year-old is a lot of money. But, you know, today, market's very different. You know, things are very, very different. If I had to go back 20 years back, you know, I wouldn't change my life or, you know, the way things have happened or progressed in my life. You know, I felt like every age was every point of time is a learning phase. There were a lot of failures. There's a lot of times that I stopped working and then I came back because of the fact that I was in university. But I think I would not change anything. I think everything that happened for a reason, and it helped me to become, you know, the person I am today. So if I had to go back to not my 16-year-old self, but maybe to my 21, 22-year-old self, because I still continued working in real estate, you know, I would start taking more risks in terms of managing the company. Because for the first 10 years of my career, actually more than 10 years of my career, I only focused on myself, in terms of doing my own transactions. I never focused on growing my company or hiring more brokers or training more brokers. Or I just felt like, you know what, if I'm going to spend my time teaching these people, you know, it's going to take away from my time that I could be selling.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was a lot later that I said, you know what, I need to maybe rest my own transactions and concentrate on my team and concentrate on my people and make sure they become big closers. And I think there was a little bit of a switch that happened, maybe, you know,
Post-COVID.
Post COVID, or actually maybe pre-COVID, but yes, post-COVID, that really took a big turn, because in the last 6-7 years we've grown from a 30% team to, you know, now over 200 people.
Wow.
You know, so that all happened in a short span of 5-6 years. So it's when that switch happened where I realized that, you know what, I can't just be closing myself, or, I always contributed 70 to 80% of my own company's transactions. 80% of the company was my sales.
Wow.
So I said, you know what, how long is this going to happen for? And
Yeah.
I want to have people who can bring those numbers in.
Yeah, you cannot build in unless you can delegate, you know.
Exactly. So I think I learned that a little bit late, and I started taking more risks. And maybe if I had to go back 10 years, I'd tell my younger self to do that a little bit more earlier in my career. But, you know, like I said, everything is a learning. I think all those transactions, all those sales helped me to be able to teach others to sell as well. Because if I don't know how to sell and I'm trying to teach, you know, a 22 or 25-year-old how to sell, you know, it really doesn't happen like that. You know, there are a lot of people that try to become managers, but they haven't really been in the trenches themselves. You know,
Yeah.
so that is, in my opinion, you know, you cannot manage a sales team like that. And sales people are very smart. They look through the bullshit. If you are just someone who's just telling them how to sell, but you don't know how to sell, they will sense that very, very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not every good salesperson can be a good manager too at the same time, but we always have to take that leap of faith and make sure that we can build towards that.
Of course.
I mean, obviously, I had a question about, you're not just obviously Springfield right now. You're a kind of a person who's moderating the industry with conversations, summits, and panels. So I think your role as a person has completely evolved over time than just being a real estate broker or an owner of a company. I think you're talking more as a person of interest in the market, who people can relate to, who people can take advices from. So
Thank you.
I think that's probably the role that you have now as a responsibility, I would say, to the market. And I think that would really help you building that team as well, because more and more people can get associated with you because of that.
Of course, of course. It's really helped us. I think building the brand, I think it was a while back that we realized that people are not just following company pages just because, I mean, if you talk about Instagram or any other social media platform, people don't just want to follow the company's page, but the personality. And I think we had a discussion about this as well, because you were doing a great job with your content. And you are doing a very good job with your content, because people want to know who Aamil Tabani is. Maybe not necessarily all the companies that Aamil Tabani manages and owns, but more about your personal story. So that's what I felt as well, that people were relating more to my personal story than, of course, which defines the organization that I'm running as well. And that's what had attracted people to come and join hands with us. And I think we realized that people, relate to people rather than just to, organizational.
It is a people's business, actually, in the end of the day. So you have to have that face. Then the company, I think, all the top company owners around the world, I mean, they all have that face
Of course.
that they relate to, whether it's Tesla, whether it's MR, we always go for
Well,
that
thank you
face.
for comparing those two organizations with us.
Of course. No, of course, you're doing a great job. And
Thank you.
I mean, obviously, there's no denying that for sure, every single broker in the real estate industry in Dubai would know you, would know
Thank you.
your
Thank you so
company.
much.
So that's
Thank you so
obviously a
much.
great achievement.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so while you're running the company, obviously Springfield is, mashallah, been achieving a lot of awards from various developers, whether it's a master developer or private developers. How has that basically helped you build on a different set of team and get more people onto your team? And what has been the winning formula?
See, I think awards and recognition are just a byproduct of the sales and the hard work that we all put in. It has definitely, of course, its own benefits, because in the market, once you are recognized as a top achiever, more and more brokers want to be associated with you. So that's definitely helped. But I think what the core business of real estate is providing value to our clients. Someone who walks through the door or rings you over your telephone and says, I want to buy real estate. If we can do our job very well, which is selling them the right piece of real estate, or helping them invest in a place where they make money, at the end of the day, that is a real victory. And if you are able to join more and more clients and are able to bring profitable results based on your advice, I think that is the real winning formula. And if each and every one of your sales team can understand that every lead that you get, every client that calls you, if you are able to convert that into a deal based on your knowledge, your experience, and your honest advice, and that results to a positive outcome for the client, that client will come back to you again and again, and will bring their friends, will bring their relatives, will bring all their reference to you. And I think that's how, a good real estate broker grows over a period of time, is because when they are able to compound their clients. And someone who gives honest advice, and I'm sure, you guys have, done phenomenally well as well in Dubai's real estate market, and you will be agreeing with me that a good broker compounds his numbers over the time.
Yeah.
Because the same client keeps coming back. I have a client who purchased a villa right now, just yesterday, in Imar's Oasis from me. And this is a client that just called me, after a year and a half, and said, Farooq, thanks a lot. The last villa you sold to me is doing really well. I've now rented all my other properties through you guys as well. They're all doing well. I just noticed, I got your market report and I saw that my property valuations have all nearly doubled in the last few years. So now you tell me what I should do. I got some marketing, or I heard about this project. I'm seeing ads. People are calling me nonstop. But I thought, you will tell me whether I should go for this and what I should go for. Because over the years, he saw my advice and he saw that it worked out. for him. He ended up buying a 28.5 million dirham villa over the phone from me. He's not even in the country. He just said, you know what, I want to have one. I want your go ahead. If you tell me go ahead, I will go ahead.
Yeah, you
So
become
that,
his.
and I'm sure it happens to all the old people in the market, is that once you give good advice, those clients keep coming back. So you don't always have to keep, picking up the phone and calling 200 people to find that one guy. I mean, marketing and hard work never stops, but you get a lot of
Repeat business.
repeat business. I wouldn't call it. I was thinking of the word freebies. It's sometimes like one of those freebie deals that you get. You're like, oh wow, I just woke up, didn't know I'm going to do a 28.5 million dirham transaction today, and then all of a sudden I get a phone call in the afternoon, and by the evening time the deal is wrapped up and the unit is decided and closed. So that happens when you have spent time in the market. You have given positive advice in the market. You have had those repeat clients who are making money from you, and of course you have kept that relationship as well long term.
Absolutely.
If you're able to do that as an old broker, provide value, you are going to be rich in Dubai's real estate market.
Absolutely, I agree. My father actually would tell me in this scenario that if you in your life just decide that you need to work with like 5 clients, if you find the right 5 clients, obviously not the clients who will just buy the studios,
Yeah.
but if you eventually come across that profile of 5 clients, that's all you need to, make enough money in your life. Obviously, enough is never enough in Dubai, but good enough to have a great life.
Of course. And it's those guys that will always come back and invest bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and their referral network, their friends and family, if they start making money, they all come back to just asking for you at the same time as well. And we've seen this trend over and over again. Right. So I want to talk a little bit about Dubai in general, about the vision of Dubai. Obviously, Dubai, the visionary leadership has always had a vision of creating Dubai, making Dubai a city which is better than any other city in any part of the world. You've traveled to probably different countries. I've traveled to maybe 40 countries in my life, and I've never seen anything even close to comparison to Dubai.
You fall more and more in love with Dubai the more you travel.
Every time we travel, we're like, we are so blessed to be in Dubai, that we are living in such a place which is, not even a comparison. It's like beyond comparisons. So obviously, people who have followed the vision of Dubai has been very successful back in the early 2000s, or even in when they started in the 70s. They had a different agenda, but obviously real estate became the major agenda in the start of 2000. So now Dubai has this new vision of this urban master plan of 2040, and Prescott has a certain vision of certain developments, master plans, this kind of sizes and the sustainability impact that Dubai has. How do you think that aligning with the vision of Dubai will really help companies like Prescott or similar who will follow this vision? How do you think they will benefit from it?
I mean, there is no denying that Dubai has the winning formula of development, of the way a city or a model city has to grow. And I think if any developer like Prescott or any other developer as well follows the vision of Dubai, they will definitely benefit from this. There's so many changes that are happening. The 2040 urban master plan that we were discussing a little while ago has so many new, agenda of how the city will look like in the future, with more green spaces, with more, better metros and public transit, public transport options, and how Dubai is now going to be what I think they've said that everyone 80% of the population will live within
30 minute city.
30-minute city, and they'll live 800 meters away from a public transport option.
They just announced, I think they just announced Blue Line's official
map as
well recently.
Exactly. So I think Dubai is going to become a lot more connected, and I think they need to do that, because if they want to double the population of Dubai, they need to ease the traffic, make Dubai more connected, help people get from place to place. We're developing so much around the city, so we need to make sure these areas are connected to people's workplaces, people's schools, shopping malls, where people want to live and work and play. So I think Dubai is moving in that right direction. There is so much work happening on the infrastructure. There's so much work happening. I mean, every road around Dubai is currently under a new expansion plan. RT is working, I think, overtime, overnight. Every night, I think there's construction happening on the roads of Dubai because they are having to accommodate all these people that are moving into Dubai. And I think they're going to continue this as well. And developers like Prescott, who are working in line with the the ruler's vision, are going to benefit in the long term. There is no denying the fact that there's a lot of people that are planning to come here. There is going to be a massive requirement for housing, and developers that are able to bring that will benefit in the long term in Dubai.
I agree, absolutely. And obviously, real estate is a long-term game. And obviously, in Dubai, it has spoiled a lot of us with the short-term game as well. But obviously, long-term has always been the winning strategy for most of the deep-pocket investors because they have, I don't know, 5x, 6x, 10x their money in certain areas. Speaking of Meydan Horizon as an area, which is still emerging right now. MBR City overall, I would say, is the right area, which is emerging. But Meydan Horizon specifically is an upcoming area. What do you think about this area in general?
So in Dubai, what we were discussing a little bit earlier is that as brokers, we're always finding, areas that could benefit our clients. And upcoming areas in Dubai is where I believe investors have the maximum amount of capital gain possibility. And Meydan Horizon is the latest upcoming new location. It has a water body. It has great connectivity to major highways and roads. You have, Al-Khail Road, you have Alain Road, you have multiple, uh, entry points and exit points into the master community. You're minutes away from downtown Dubai. You're minutes away from Dubai Creek Harbor and the Dubai Square Mall that is going to be coming up in Dubai Creek Harbor. You have the Meydan Mall minutes away. You have Dubai Mall hardly 10 minutes away. So you have the best shopping destinations hardly 5 to 10 minutes away from your community. You walk down, you have open green spaces, you have a man-made beach at your doorstep at the price of 2,000 dirhams a square foot. The last time we were just discussing the latest Prescott project starting at 2,000 dirhams a square foot. I think it has very good value. There is no other place in Dubai where you can get a waterfront property at this price. So for our investors and for people that are looking at Dubai's real estate market, these are the new hotspots where if you come in early, you will make money. If you look at Dubai Beachfront, the investors that invested in the beginning were the ones who made money. Same thing with Dubai Creek Harbor. The ones who came in early are the ones who made money. If you take any master project in Dubai, whether it's the old projects like Dubai Marina, guys who invested in downtown when the prices were below 2,000 dirhams a square foot, they have all made massive amounts of money. Today, we were discussing with some of our developer friends that the cost of construction has gone up.
Yep.
The requirements from buyers has gone up. People do not want subpar construction anymore because of the competition amongst the developers in Dubai. The profit margins have shrunk and the development quality has gone up, which is a great thing for the end users in Dubai. Because the more competition you have, the more developers have to work hard to
Yep.
bring better value, better prices, better quality, because you are competing on different fronts. Location, price, quality are just a few of the major requirements. So even this project that I was very impressed with your new project in Meydan Horizon. I think in terms of design, quality, location, it's, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. At this price, 2,000 dirhams a square foot is very attractive. And I think new investors that are coming into Dubai, it makes a lot more sense into investing in an off-plan project like this, where you have probably the possibility in the next 5 to 6 years to double in terms of value. These are areas that I can imagine them to be selling at 4,500 dirhams a square foot once completely developed. So that is the amount of money an investor can make in these areas. So I personally would really suggest investors to look at these hot upcoming locations rather than those older mature areas that have already probably reached their peak.
Yeah, that's a very good insight. I think I completely could agree with you in this. And one thing I would obviously, want to add further in these locations, obviously, because the kind of projects that are coming in over here, obviously, because of the kind of competition that we have, as you mentioned, everyone has to step up the kind of developments that they have to do. So the whole community will have, serious top end,
Yeah.
high end developments at the same time,
You
rather
won't have
than
any ugly yellow looking buildings and
which you would have in the past in
Yeah.
other areas. So that completely changes the landscape and the skyline of that vicinity.
Also another thing I want to add based on what you just mentioned is that certain areas have started off as not very luxury areas, but they have grown into sort of higher end. Even if you take Business Bay,
Yeah.
there are certain buildings that were developed maybe 10, 15 years ago that were built at a very low spec. So you might have a very expensive building like Dorchester Collection, and then you might have another building that I don't want to name, very close to it, which is a very low quality building. So you have two very different kind of developments in the same street. Both are overlooking the canal, but one is selling at
price difference is like 3-4 times.
4x price difference, literally.
Yeah.
So you won't have that in these newer areas that are developing in Meydan Horizon, because every developer is developing a certain high spec. So once these areas will get developed, you will have all the buildings very good quality, which will sort of uplift that entire area.
And also, I would say at the same time, the kind of community that it will develop, the kind of people who will be residing in those will have a similar taste, similar
Of course.
benchmark. So I think, yeah, definitely these upcoming master plans with the nice planning will always be a differentiator.
And I think Dubai has also upped their requirements when it comes to locations with having more greenery, more open spaces, more parks, more overall communal areas for their residents. So this itself will increase the living standard in those areas.
So right now, obviously, Dubai has been louder than ever, buzzing day in, day out. People talk about whether there is oversupply, whether there is no oversupply. I mean, the population growth is a great answer for us to determine whether there is oversupply or not, because we've been seeing the trend that the population is growing faster than the supply right now. But obviously, in these market conditions, these days, we have a lot of developers, a lot of projects. Sometimes we don't even know the names. How do you differentiate between who to work with and who to not work with?
For us, the credibility of the developer is the most important thing. I was just speaking to someone while I was here on the elevator coming up to your office that, Farooq, you are working with so many developers. How do you, don't get lost in the noise? And I said, our main job is to create value for our clients. At the end of the day, that is the number one agenda. The number one agenda is that the clients that invest with us need to make money, because they're the ones that are going to come back. And that is the basic requirement of our business. So for us, it's always looking out for the best deal possible for the clients. So in terms of the developers that we work with, risk management is very important. If I find something which is a very good value, good money, low price, but it never gets developed, or it gets developed at subpar quality, you end up losing out. So it's a combination of price, combination of value that the developer is creating. The most important thing is the developer's credibility, and the developer that does what they say, where the brochures should look like the end product as well. So for us, working with developers, is very important. Choosing the right developers that have provided value over time. You look at a developer's older project and you see whether they have really done what they have promised. You should see their people who live in their buildings and live in their communities, whether they are happy, whether they have made money. The last investor, if he has seen a profit in his investment, that is what we care about, and that is what we always see. And if we can identify developers like that who have a good track record, a good track history, and they're providing good value, those are the developers that we choose to work with.
Yeah, I think that has been the, I would say, main priority. I mean, especially for us, obviously, because we have, different real estate businesses. But as a developer, my uncle who heads the development, he's the CEO of Prescott, he said that when we were in 2008 in the crisis, we had two projects running, one in Prime Residency 1 and 2 and Prime Business Center. Prime Residency 1 and 2 were like 350 apartments. Prime Business Center was like 200 offices, twin tower.
Wow.
So they were, from a construction area point of view, the biggest ever projects that we've done even till date. So our first two projects were the biggest ever projects. But in the peak crisis of 2008, our collection threshold was at 40% or 50%. And you know how things work in that past, no escrow account, no nothing. But as a company, we always had that policy of whether escrow account or no escrow account, project money stays in the project accounts. and that's when we managed to deliver both the projects in 2010 and 2011. So that, I think we were amongst the 4 developers who actually delivered what they launched.
I think that's why you guys are here, and that's why you guys are stronger than ever. Prescott has
Yeah.
been in the market. There are a few developers that have been in the market since 2006. And, with having the kind of projects that you guys have delivered, I think it talks volumes behind the vision of the company. If you are providing value and, you guys have provided value over the long term, over the years, it shows that the intent is there from the leadership of the company to provide value for their clients. And I think that is what helps sells your new projects.
Yes.
People look at the history. People always, brokers, when they're advising their clients, they study the developers. We study the developers, and we know these stories and we know the history. And I think that's the reason why Prescott is more and more successful and selling a lot more than many of the developers in your segment.
That's the core value of the family. So alhamdulillah, we're just trying to live on to that, and trying to keep the same name as we can. So Farooq, obviously you started at 16, like you mentioned earlier. I know one of the agents. She's 18, and she's done $1 million dirhams in commissions in sales this year. As an advice to all the young brokers who are obviously following you, I'm sure you receive a lot of requests in your DMs every day. I want to join your team and I want to be a broker like you. What is that advice I think you can give to the people in the camera that they could do and to start what they want to do in real estate?
My first advice would be gain as much knowledge as possible. Drive around or walk around the city if you have to learn about the different master communities, learn about the different developments, research about the history of Dubai, and start somewhere. Start in a small organization so that you can at least get into the rhythm. And this is a place where fortunes can be made. Like you said, an 18-year-old made $1 million in commission. Where else in the world can you make that sort of money? In the right way? In the right way.
In the right.
The right way. I mean, unless you're stealing a bank, there is nowhere you can make $1 million dirhams at the age of 18 in any organization, in any industry.
And that too with multiple transactions, not just one bumper transaction. There has been a transaction where the commission value has exceeded 80,000.
Wow.
It's like multiple transactions with consistency every month. So
and
that to a person who is part-time university.
Wow. So see, the lucky thing about people who've grown up in Dubai and who have that sort of connections, they can leverage on those connections. Not everyone is able to. Not everyone is able to leverage their connections. But if you have that knowledge, expertise, and then you can build that confidence, confidence comes from doing multiple transactions. Confidence comes from learning and your knowledge. And if someone is able to leverage their contacts, then, $1 million dirhams at the age of 18 sounds excellent.
Amazing. Yeah, sounds amazing. And you mentioned, obviously, in your social media earlier as well, that last year you had the best year as a company.
Yes.
You guys closed around 3 billion plus in sales.
That is right.
But you mentioned earlier when you were starting that 70 to 80% of the business was coming from you back in the start.
Yes. Yeah.
How much has that changed?
That has changed completely. Now I sometimes joke about how I am an administrator in my office now. My job is become the chief. We were joking about it yesterday. I'm just managing different people's egos. Different crisis management officer, CMO. That's what I am. I'm a crisis management officer now. A lot of my time goes now into obviously developer relationships and managing those, which is the fun part of my job. Meeting developers, meeting owners. This is the fun part. But the actual part of my work is the crisis that happens every day in the office. And a lot of my time goes into that rather than sales, which honestly, I much rather enjoy, and I prefer doing that. And now my own transactions make up a very small portion of my company's overall sale, which I'm honestly very, very happy about. Now I can, sit back and enjoy other people's success. The best messages I get every day is when my broker texts me, and I have so many people who text me every day that, boss, I closed a 3-bedroom here, or I closed a 4-bedroom here, or I closed a villa here, or I closed a 20 million dirham transaction here. I just wanted to let you know, those are the best messages that I have. the other day, someone just uploaded a reel in my company that, 2 years ago, I came into Dubai and I promised myself that I would have this much money in the bank. I would buy my first property. I would buy a Range Rover and I would take my family for Umrah. And then he was making a reel of how he went for Umrah, so those are the kind of messages that I really enjoy. And that's what gives me the energy now. That's what gives me that push. And that's what I enjoy the most about my own job.
New role,
Yeah,
yeah.
my own role.
Well, it's a nice way to say the CMO role, the crisis
Management officer.
management officer. I would say you're the crisis management officer. I would say CMO square, because you're also the chief marketing officer of the
Yeah,
company, technically.
that is true. It's marketing plus crisis management. That's what my role is. Less of sales, though I am lucky now that I get to meet a lot of clients, that walk into our office every day. I mean, every day we have some clients that are walking into the office, and then many a times I, get the opportunity to sit with them, even if it's for just a few minutes. So that also keeps us in the game, because you have to stay.
Yeah.
You have
I'm
to stay
out of the
updated.
game.
You have to stay updated.
I'm less on the client side in the last few years, so I can actually sometimes feel it whenever I have a situation where I have to sit with the client. I'm like a little bit nervous. I'm like, I have to make too much effort or not? Am I being too pushy or not?
You make too much money now, Aamil. I think you don't need to do anything anymore.
Sometimes money is not the agenda. I don't know. Maybe eventually, everybody I think has different goals. For some reason, I'm more success driven than money driven. So if I have a certain target that I need to achieve, whether it's less or more, as long as I'm working towards it, waking up every day to work towards it, for me, I'm very content with that, because eventually, by the grace of God, alhamdulillah, we've established businesses in such a way that eventually you reach to a point in your life with the kind of money that after that it doesn't make so much difference.
Yeah. Your lifestyle doesn't
Your
change after a certain
lifestyle changes a little bit. You to start from business class, you'd go to first class to private jets. From Mercedes, you would go to Bugattis, and clothing, you'd spend $1,000 instead of you'd spend $10,000 on a specific thing. I mean, these are smaller changes that you would
I
do,
agree.
but the
I agree.
education will stay the same. The kind of life you live in a house stays the same. So I don't know.
The moment you stop worrying about the basic requirements of life, I believe you are in a good place.
Yeah.
And after that, I think you have to, focus more on what you said, your own goals, the satisfaction, the happiness that you derive from your family members and your loved ones, and the close relationships that you have. I think that becomes more of a priority. Today now, I was discussing in my office that now I try not to work on Saturdays. I've always worked every Saturday of my life, and it's just, I think, since 3 years, since my firstborn turned, when he turned 2 years old, and he started telling me that, Baba, I don't get to see you enough, or I don't see you, or why are you not home? Then I started realizing, and I think it was once he turned 2 and he started like sort of speaking, then I said, you know what, I made a decision that I don't, like, it's not worth me working every Saturday. I've worked every Saturday of my life. Though even now, I do work every alternate Saturday. And my wife's like, you told me you're not going to work on Saturday, but and something or the other ends up coming up. But now it's more about valuing my kids, my life at home, my friends, my family. That is now starting to take more of an importance than it was in the first, let's say, 15 years of my career.
No, I think we all reached to that stage, and I think I have the same situation now in my life, but I'm still working every Saturday. It's just too much to operate right now. Again, like you said, the crisis management officer, I think we have similar roles. But yeah, last one, Farooq. I have one last one for you. I see recently, obviously, you guys are opening a new office in Abu Dhabi.
That's right.
So first of all, congratulations for that. I've been asked to open that office since maybe 6-7 years, and I'm for that, then I'll have to start working Sunday as well. So I haven't reached to that state, but it's a very good step, I think, and you will have a very good market. But the sole purpose of that office is to serve clients from Abu Dhabi to buy in Dubai, or for you to have more exposure into selling Abu Dhabi real estate.
For us right now, it's more exposure into selling Dubai real estate. And if we are able to cater to clients over there that want to buy Dubai, then definitely that's a big plus and a big benefit for us, because there are people in Abu Dhabi that are buying Dubai, and I think it'll help us to be closer to those clients. But the main agenda right now is to sell more of Abu Dhabi, because already this year, without concentrating too much on Abu Dhabi, or without really spending on marketing in Abu Dhabi, we have done very well in selling Abu Dhabi projects. So we've done a lot of sales with Aldar this year. We've done a lot of sales with Mudon this year and some other developers as well. Reportage, Bertville. We've done transactions with these Imkan, these different developers of Abu Dhabi without really concentrating too much. And besides that, I do believe that the pricing in Abu Dhabi currently is still at a very different level as compared to Dubai. And I think investors will make a lot of money in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi luxury segment, if you just take luxury segment, I believe compared that to Dubai, it's way underpriced. If you look at villa prices in Dubai compared to villa prices in Abu Dhabi, you will see a huge difference. Yesterday, we did 2 transactions at 9.1 million each in 𝐸𝐫𝐻 Island for a 10,000 square feet plot and roughly 6,500 square feet built up on a man-made island in Mudon, 𝐸𝐫𝐻 Island, which is a man-made island, government developer, very good value on a 50-50 payment plan. Where do you get 50-50 payment plan in Dubai? 10,000 square feet lot, government developer, supremely good.
You cannot even get value for that anymore.
This is less than 1,000 dirhams a square foot on plot. 900 dirhams a square foot on plot. You cannot get that anywhere. This is right across the Abu Dhabi island, the main land of Abu Dhabi. And this is on the left side of Abu Dhabi island, which is where all the royal palaces of Abu Dhabi are situated. That is where all the richest people of Abu Dhabi stay. This is right across the street from that. So there's very good value. This Mudon is just one of the projects. Even if you look at other developers, the pricing in Abu Dhabi is still a lot more lower priced than Dubai. Of course, no doubt, Dubai is leading in terms of tourism. Dubai is leading in terms of people, globally. Dubai has become a very, very strong brand, but Abu Dhabi is catching up. Abu Dhabi has major developments coming up like Disney World. We already have the Yas Marina circuit that, we have the F1 that happens there. We have so many concerts that happen at Etihad Arena. There's a lot of push from Abu Dhabi government as well in terms of further opening up and developing the real estate market. Dubai's real estate market is over 20 years old, the freehold. In Abu Dhabi, it's only 6 years old. It's only 2019 onwards that they started freehold and really pushing.
And are they still charging the registration fee at the time of acquisition, or they charge it on the
at the time of acquisition 2%?
And 2%, not 4.
Yeah, not 4.
So that's also an advantage.
So there's a lot of value that there still exists in Abu Dhabi market. And I think investors will make a lot of money. And our main agenda is to be selling Abu Dhabi from Abu Dhabi.
That's great. I wish you all the best for that new venture, and wish you more continued success going forward in years to come, and to start breaking records year on year.
Thank you so much, Aamil. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me in your office. Thank you for having me on your amazing podcast. And I wish you guys great success. Prescott, you guys are doing a great job with all your companies. I always joke about how each and every member of your family is running different organizations, but all towards a common goal, which is so nice to see that everyone in the family is doing so well. There's someone doing the development, someone doing Golden Bridge, someone doing the different real estate companies that you guys own and manage. It's amazing. I'm sure your family get-togethers all about price per square foot.
My room get-together is also real estate after my wife became real estate 7 years ago.
I mean, that's probably all you guys talk about, man.
At least we have a good common topic.
Yeah. So it's really nice, and wish you guys more and more success and unity in the family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again. And looking forward to see you very soon.